Welcome to Love and Life's Journey. I'm Chantel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I am in the mountains of Idaho in this beautiful setting, and I could not resist filming the intro for this DIY video here because today we are making rustic woodland farmhouse Christmas ornaments from Dollar Tree items. So let's jump in and get started. For this first ornament, I will be using a couple of these wood stems from Dollar Tree, as well as this cute little Christmas gnome ornament. I'm going to start by using my miter box and saw to cut the little wood stems into slices. So I'm going to cut 3 slices off, and I did use a couple of wood stems because these are small and hard to hold on to. But it works pretty well to cut these with the miter box and saw. You just have to be careful to keep your fingers out of the way. Next, I'm going to use the black paint marker from this set of acrylic paint markers that I got from Arteza, and I'm going to just write the word joy on the little wood slices. And you could use a Sharpie marker for this or paint them on with a paintbrush if you want. And I couldn't decide which style of Y to make, so that's what I'm doing here, but I decided on this one and I think this looks perfect. I'm going to use some of this jute twine from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just tie a knot in the end and use that to hot glue it to the little gnome's hand. And then I'm going to kind of place these on, get an idea of the spacing where I want to glue them before I just start gluing them on. And then I'll just attach the little wood slices to the twine with some hot glue, and then tie another knot in the end of the twine and attach that with some hot glue to his other hand. Next, I'm going to add a little pine sprig. It's just a scrap I got off of a floral pick or something, and a couple little pine cones, and attach these to his hat with some hot glue. You can use anything you want to embellish his hat or leave it plain. It's really just personal preference. And I think he turned out super cute. He just looks like an adorable little woodland Santa. So before we continue on with the rest of the DIYs, I just wanted to pop in here real quick and let you know that I have Love and Life's Journey merchandise. I have a store, and there is a link to that store and a coupon code for 15% off in the description box below. Be sure to check that out and pick up some items. They're great for Christmas gifts and even just for yourself. So be sure to check out that link. And now let's get back to the DIYs. For this next ornament, I will be using the Color Your Own Ornament snowflakes from Dollar Tree and some jute twine, as well as a few berries off of this berry sprig I also picked up at Dollar Tree. I'm going to start by painting my snowflake on both sides with some white chalk paint. This is actually ivory colored chalk paint, or you could even leave it natural and it would look great too. I'm using some of the thicker twine, and I'm cutting pieces to go the length of the longer lines of the snowflake, but I'm not going all the way to the ends because I want to add the red berries to the very ends. Then I'm attaching these with some hot glue, and if you didn't want to have them overlap in the center and end up with a little bit of a hump in the center, then you could cut them in the middle and just have them all meet at the middle. It's really up to you. I didn't mind how it kind of made a little bump in the middle. I just thought it gave it a little bit more dimension. Next, I'm going to cut 8 berries off of the berry sprig, and I am using the larger berries since there's all different sizes on here, and then I'll just hot glue 1 berry to each of those ends on the snowflake. And I only put the twine and berries on one side, but you could put them on both sides of this and make it a double-sided ornament. So I have 2 thicknesses of twine, and I am going to use the thinner twine to make a little bow to put in the center of the snowflake. And I'll just do this by wrapping the twine 4 or 5 times around a couple of my fingers, and then tying a little piece of twine around the center of it to create the little bow. And then I will just attach that with a little bit of hot glue right to the center of the snowflake. These ornaments did come with some little jute twine hangers in them, so I am going to use that to make the hanger for my snowflake. Since my ornament is just a one-sided ornament, I am using hot glue and attaching the hanger to the back of the ornament. If you made this a double-sided ornament, I would recommend putting your hanger through that hole and hanging it by that before you add the berry over the top of that hole. For this next ornament, I will be using one of these clear plastic ornaments from Dollar Tree, and I am going to remove the top of it and remove the hanger that is in it because it's like a metallic silver hanger, and I want to add a jute twine hanger to it. So I'm using the thin twine, and I am going to poke it down inside the hole that's already in the lid and just tie a knot to hold it in. Then I'm going to use some black chalk paint and paint over that silver top just to make it look a little bit less shiny. For this ornament, I'm going to be using the thicker jute twine. I'm going to attach it with some hot glue at the very top, right underneath the lid, and then I'm going to wrap it all the way around the ornament. And at first, I just added hot glue in a few places so that it would just kind of keep it in place. But once I got to the center or the widest part of the ornament, I found that I needed to add hot glue in a lot more places more often to help hold it in the correct place because it wanted to slide down the ornament. So just kind of use your judgment, and if you think it needs some glue to hold it in place, add some glue. And I wind the twine all the way to the very end of the ornament, just adding hot glue to secure it in place, and then I cut off the twine when I get to the end. Next, I'm going to add some ribbon around the center of the ornament. You could use any type of ribbon that you want, so I'm just checking out a couple of patterns that I have, but in the end I decided to go with this more rustic burgundy checked ribbon. It's just a scrap that I have. I don't even know where it came from. To finish this ornament off, I'm going to be using a little piece of a pine garland tie and add that to the top of the ornament, as well as a couple of pine cones. And then I'm going to use a little bit of the berry garland, also from Dollar Tree, just a couple of short pieces, and twist those around and add them in for a little bit of color. And I love the transformation of this, taking that clear plastic ornament and turning it into this fun rustic woodland ornament. For this ornament, I'm going to be using another one of the plastic ornaments from Dollar Tree. This one is the flatter round ornament. And I'm going to spray it with some white spray paint. This is one from Walmart. It says it bonds to plastic, and so I'm giving it a coat of this, and I'm not really trying to cover the whole thing because I am going to go back over it with some of the ivory colored chalk paint, just because I don't want this to be a white. I want it to be more of an off-white, and I didn't have an off-white spray paint, so this is what I'm going to do. And I found if you spray paint these first, then the chalk paint will stay on the ornament better and not chip off. So I'm painting the chalk paint on the ornament, and I apologize, I do not know why my camera would not focus here, and I didn't notice that, so sorry about that. Once the chalk paint is dry, I'm going to take a little bit of brown craft paint or acrylic paint and a old fluffy brush, and I'm going to just dry brush a little bit of this paint all over the ornament to give it more of a rustic look. Then I'm going to take some of that thin jute twine and attach it with a little bit of hot glue right to the center of one side of the ornament, and then I'm going to wrap it 5 or 6 times around the center of the ornament, just kind of crisscrossing it randomly. Then when I like the way it looks, I will just secure the other end with a little hot glue and trim it off. I had this little piece of greenery with the pine cone and the buffalo checked bow on it that I took off of one of those little sleigh ornaments from Dollar Tree that I used for a different project. And I like the way this looks, even though it's a little bit sparse. I kind of like that look, and I'm going to attach that to the center of this just the way it is. I'm not going to change it at all. And this is why I keep things like this when I take them off of other things that I use for different projects, because I know I will probably use them in the future for something else. And then I will just add a jute twine hanger using that same thin twine that I used to wrap around the ornament. For the last couple of ornaments, I will be using these wood stems again that I picked up at Dollar Tree. I'm going to use 7 of them that are about the same size and that fit together well, and then I'm going to hot glue them in the shape of, really it looks like a flower kind of. I was at first kind of going for a snowflake, but it's really more of like a flower shape. But if you left the center piece out and glued them in a circle, like in the same pattern, then it would look more like a wreath. I'm going to take a piece of ribbon, and I wanted something with a little bit of color in it, so I chose this ribbon from Dollar Tree with the red with the snowflakes on it. And I'm going to wrap that around the outside edge and secure it with some hot glue. And then I'm going to take some of that thin jute twine and wrap it around the ribbon a couple of times, and then just tie it in a knot at the top and then I'm going to use a little extra twine to make a hanger at the top. Then I'm going to add another one of those little twine bows that I made in that previous ornament, and I'm going to attach that to the top of this ornament with some hot glue and add some really tiny pieces of that berry sprig just to add a little bit of color to the front. And honestly, I think this would probably be cuter without that centerpiece so that it looked more like a wreath, but I think it's still cute the way it is. And next I'm going to use some more of those wood stem pieces. I'm using 6 pieces and fitting them together, gluing them together in a triangle shape because I'm going to make this one into a Christmas tree. Once those are all glued together in the triangle shape, I'm going to take some of that thin jute twine and wrap it around several times and tie it off, and this will just give it a little bit more of a rustic look. When I started wrapping the twine, I started at the top of the triangle, and then when I stopped wrapping, I stopped at the same point so that I could tie it in a knot, and then cut some extra long ends on there so that I could use that as the hanger for my ornament. Then I'm going to glue one of the wood stems to the bottom of the triangle in the center to be the little trunk of my tree. And to finish this one off, I'm going to add just a really small sprig of pine and a couple little red berries just to keep it real simple and to add a little color. And the nice thing about using these wood stems is you can make several ornaments with just one package of them, so they're very budget friendly. And I really like how simple and easy they are, and they are so quick to put together. I had a lot of fun making all of these rustic woodland Christmas ornaments from Dollar Tree items. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel to grow. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would love to have you stick around and hit that subscribe button for more DIY videos to come. Don't forget to also hit that bell and set your notifications so that YouTube will notify you when I upload new videos. Don't forget to check out that link in my description box, as well as that coupon code for the Lovin' Life's Journey merch. That coupon code will be good through December 1st. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day.